Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at the K-Content's full stages. Now at this point in time, these are not technically released yet. Somebody was able to give me these unlisted links, so I have no idea how this is gonna fare on YouTube. All we gotta do is just say a couple prayers because your girl's already gotten a copyright strike and I really don't want another one in the same week. So we're gonna figure it out though. I'm excited for this. We got Parasite A, B, Sky Castle A, B, Squid Game A, B, and Oldboy A and B. Now I'm going to most likely just kind of understand more context behind this. I don't know if it's the same choreography, just different people in different positions, or if it's different choreography entirely. I have the episode to look at later today. Maybe they'll provide more context, or maybe you guys will provide more context. I don't quite know. But I do know they have fan cams out for the dancers involved in all of these. So I'm kind of just gonna naturally try to figure out what's going on and maybe pick my preference out of all of them as well as the individual kind of matchup. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, you hear that? This is polyrhythm through delegation. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yee! Such a contemporary thing. Oh, love it. Love it. It's quirky. Wow. Are we pulling, it's something like a K-pop cover, like the K-pop mission from the Street Fighter franchise? Is that what this is? That little blurb right there. BPM change. Gorgeous. Oh my god, this is so fun. This is so fun. Ooh! This is what I'm talking about though. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow. With a lingering finish. Wow. Oh, this is a fun challenge. Okay, Parasite B, let's go. So I'm going to assume there's a lot of the same choreo, but there is one little blurb that's different. So everybody matters, I would say, in these. Because I'm assuming it's different people, too. Oh, yeah. Kim Hyun-yeon. Wow. Oh, okay. I'm getting it. I'm trying to pick up what's going on. Got it. So we were comparing soloists. And then we're comparing the secondaries as well. They get their own little blurb too. Oh, is it their own choreo? Because I don't remember that flip in the first one. So who had the better solos and who had the better duos would be my guess here. God, this is so fun. This is so fun, guys. This challenge is so interesting. Okay. That timing looked off. But we'll double check it in the back though. With this lingering feeling, we crawl and we lift him up with the grab. Okay, so we're going to be, it looks like we have different ensemble. No, it's the same ensemble. That makes it very fun. Yep, so we have same ensemble, different secondaries, different leads. That is a smart move. Here's why. Because if they had different ensembles, then you would need to have a section who had the better ensemble, right? But because it's the same, having your different main, you're comparing who is the better mains and who are the better secondaries. And for me, I would even include who had better chemistry with the leads with the secondaries. And for me, I'm digging A lot. Not just because of Holjong and Yongwoo, like because of Holjong has become very popular. And I love the fact that he's really putting like right there, putting it on the map in regards to Korean dance. And then also Parasite B, you got Gyunyeon. Right now I'm curious, hold on. He's under contemporary, ballet, Korean, contemporary, Korean. So we only got one ballet represented. Interesting. I have them like all set up here. Okay. We're only talking about these for now. So it's Korean dance versus Korean dance. And then you got one of them with the Korean dance and contemporary and the other with contemporary. So based on how the choreography is structured, this is a lot of these fusion challenges are going to be heavy in contemporary. When you think about what contemporary actually is, you have it studied in school, you can do that. But also like the kind of the basis of it, it's a fusion. Like it's not inherently like there are strong styles that are represented under contemporary that can really help in the like there's modern influence, a lot of ballet influence, jazz influence, but you see a ton of street dance can just very like it mesh itself quite well, I think is kind of my point here. I am totally digging this though. Okay, we're gonna talk about it here. We're gonna talk about going right here from the top, I think the chemistry of Group A is a little bit better. Could it be because we have two contemporary dancers? Possibly. But Holjong did very well, and he was very readable in the choreography that they were being directly compared to. So right here from the jump, ready to go. How it was shot, also, I have no idea where these shot the exact same way, because if they were, thank you, Mnet. But if they weren't, boo Mnet, because that's a really big thing to me, especially in that K-pop challenge in the Street Fighter franchise. That was my big note that I really felt is a big component in all of this, is if you're not going to shoot the comparisons of choreo the same way, then it's going to be really hard for us to really know who did better, because you may be covering up something or a mistake or something along those lines by not having a fixed cam, if that makes sense. But here, so far, it's pretty good. Right here, I don't quite know the premise of this, and they don't give it to us, right? So I think that's okay, that we can just go off of the vibe. It's giving that medieval, something's corrupt going on. You have these nice little stoic individuals who end up, you know, creating havoc for our main. Now we have all of our dancers going through. I love the energy in the back there. It's actually, I do feel like the ensemble's a smidgen cleaner here too, but that could just be my perception or my projection. That you can only do so much. They're human, right? So the setup here with your lead, really nice. I love the itemization already out the jump. You got 3 groupings in the back with your ensemble. You have more of the ballet represented here, which I love. And then you have your lead, and then you have your 2 not doing anything. Love it. It's just a whole polyrhythm in delegation. I've mentioned this before. A lot of times you'll either see people do polyrhythms to enhance complexity of what we're watching through the content that they're doing, so the physical movement and how it's structured and multitasked, and then you have it through delegation, where you have all of these sounds and you're delegating them to different groupings on the stage. And that's when you have a lot of people, you can do that more often, which is exactly what we see here. Love it. Now, I love the stoicness that he has. He does end up doing a little attitude, dropping into a little coupe energy. It just gives more of an angsty vibe, more so than a technically correct vibe. Korean dance is his forte. We love that. Boom, boom. He has a little bit of a unhingedness about him, which is cool. I know in choreography he did Crazy in his little demo draft, which is really fun that we get to see this. And I see just little symptoms. He knows how to carry that type of character very well, which is fun. Reset forward. I love that, where he goes and shoots it over to the side. Little you can't see me. Then you have your secondaries right here. They're nice and stoic. And I love that even the amount of fog that dissipates is pretty similar in parallel, which means they must have a similar range to get the fog to act like that. That's really cool. And then the little hop hop pops are nice. I think personally for me, it could go off of, remember, subjective art here. I've already called it, Mnet called it that way from the jump. This is subjective art. I could try to provide as much objectiveness, but we don't know what the criteria is, because so far, based on our adjudicators, it's hit and miss, depending. But they're way better across the board than any Street Fighter that we've had in seasons past. That is for sure. So I am a happy camper, at least with some feedback from them. But the turn rotating around is fine. He goes down, up, up. He's up, and then he has some subtlety with the twinkling of the hands. We have your secondaries go to the back, and then the turn there, it did feel a little bit more together, more itemized, very clear and readable tracing, or not tracing, but allowing that syncopation of the hand to travel up, and that rhythm is nice. And then they rotate it through and down, up. Honestly, it's the ensemble could have been a little cleaner. Now this Choi Hong-jung, Amu, Changjak, Gugan. So this is, see, we're going to double check this. We're competing choreographies. Love it. Okay, so if we're going to be competing a choreography, I'm going to kind of project what I was doing for the K-pop challenge. Who, I guess, whose choreography meshes the general vibe of the routine. I think his does a very, very nice job, but also we have to keep in mind the kind of character development that our dancers choose to go with. Does their choreography match that? Because Holjong's approaching it differently than Gyunyeon is, which is absolutely fine. It's going to be chalked up to preference, and if the adjudicators are the choreographers, they're going to have a preference as to how someone is to do it. But that's going to be all more contextualized. I love his energy and his absence of movement here, and I love having our secondaries. To me, it feels more readable. Da 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 da. I can see it so clearly what they're doing in the back, and it actually allowed me to appreciate it. Could it be because of Holjong's choreography allowed him to have a sense of absence of movement with more extroversion in our ensemble, and then that caused us to see the subtleties of our secondary group? Possibly. There's little things like that. Da 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 da. It could very well be that, which makes me, in my head, it's going to be our judges going to prefer for Holjong to have the spotlight taken from him to the secondaries, or are they going to like the fact that he contributed his choreography for the general scope of it? To me, I love this choice because I'm able to actually appreciate the music more, which dancers are the visual representation of our music, and music is a priority for me as an educator and a choreographer myself. So being able to see it in this way for the betterment of the entire group, I find to be successful. That's a good leader, or that's a good main dancer, in my humble opinion, when they know when to back off or when to really contribute. But because it's specifically his choreography creation, it's a risk because I'm technically not watching him here. So that's just gonna be a note. That could be a critique that he gives, but I love why he did it. Like, I guess I'm projecting the why. I really like what ended up happening, if I'm being honest. So I like that everyone is frozen and they're kind of leaning towards him. Very cool. The turn is really nice. And I'm going to assume he has a heavy Korean dance influence in all of this, of course. So a lot of his choices are going to come across. Honestly, they look more like he has a very technical background, not in Korean dance, but he's creating a texture in his movement that gives that impression. It's what it looks like, which is actually pretty dope. If you didn't know that he has a heavy Korean dance background, you would just assume he's very textured and his posture placement. It's very unique, right? It's really what it gives impression-wise, which is so fascinating. Just the kind of things that you get to pick up on with this. And they present the arms, boom, boom, and then you have the every other, everyone creating their nice little, not pantomime, but different emotions that are extroverted. Bring it down, he changes, and then he resets. And I love this choice, da-da-da-da-da-da, right there on the strings. We're here for it, and I love the personality of our secondary here. And then they bleed it, da-da-da-da-da-da, traveling little hop there is nice. To me, it feels very clear. Like, Ho-jung doing this, very clear and readable. This is like the epitome of the contemporary solo division, right? Where it's a kip up, but then you end up folding it back down. But I love that everybody just dropped out. The height on that is gorgeous and complete, going into a backwards roll, and the commitment from both of our dancers there are really nice, and everyone just drops. Really nice on ensemble. They go and they have their moment, ding, 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 they pop up. They go drop down up, and then they have their moment with the lift. The wide eyes effect is really cool there. And then they're all like, oh, what? Then he has this moment. I love the clarity of that. Boom, boom. He chooses when to be still, have his moment, his accent, and then to move on in the phrase. Really cool. I love this choice, having the arm be fixed there, going and traveling the hands to create very clear, readable direction, which whenever you're thinking about this type of track, you want things to be readable to your audience. You absolutely do. Because everything, when you hear an orchestra, there's sheet music, so there's structure behind the choices. Or when you hear somebody deviate, everyone else has to do their part for that deviation to work, right? So that's why I'm really digging it when we see everybody commit the way they need to. So when we have these moments of readability, but it's still a standout, we love it. Spotlight's really cool. They're like, oh, this is bad. So I love how they crawl backwards. So it kind of feels like a reversal of the scooting that they were doing. I just still think about it, and it's really fun. And they go up, and then from there, they come up like they're being controlled. I love the pull and the sternum on that. He has this moment with the angstiness and the switch up there, switch of the knees, and then you have all of our dancers slowly rise up. Dropping down with the elbow is nice, and then he brings up the energy up. It felt like a freeze almost, right? Where he's keeping that elbow right there about the hip pocket to create that contrast with the legs and the arm. Really cool. And the commitment to our dancers here, it's still individualized, but cohesive. And that, I think, is what B was missing. And it could very simply be because you have a Korean dancer, they're both Korean. Korean dance and contemporary-based styles trying to match there. This, I think, was pretty good. I like the sweeps on that. I'm going to call it a sweep, not a ranajam. Ranajam's, yeah, under ballet for sure. I like that little moment, boom, with the whip around. Really cool. And then he goes, da-da-da-da-da. I love the itemize right there on the piano. I can very clearly hear it there. The lifts up there. There's so much to talk about. Oh, my gosh. Which makes it fun, though. That's why we have two videos to watch. He goes, he rotates it through. He picks it up right there on the knee. And they switch up, boom, boom. I like the little retraction of the head to bring it back forward. Of course, the range on the arms and the back ensemble, going high to low, more unison. To me, when it comes to ensembles, they're so important because they really don't let the mains stand out if they're so unrefined. So that's why, to me, every role matters, which this show kind of makes the impression on if you're in the under, you suck. No, not at all. For me, I'm like, the ensemble carries a big role. Sure, your face isn't going to be like shown as much as we're seeing like with Holjong, and you may not be a household name, but you do matter, you know? But it's Mnet, and they like to do whatever they want, but anyway, I digress. So they have this moment here. So now it is time for our two. I'm assuming this is their choreography that they made together. I love the subtle. See here, womb with the chest. I love the sweet little swivel around, the lift right there, little envelope action, taking the arms. I love the kick, pa, on the tail end of that. And then a dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. I love that choice with the subtle walks. He walks to the back. The accents there, the opposition, one hits low, one hits high. I love the kick, and he does, once again, another little envelope. The leap is nice, floor work. So I love the level choice on this. And then you have a nice little partner moment. And they go through, boom, boom. Once again, it's definitely on the quirky side, which actually helps validate Holjong's role too, because of how he's been presenting in his own choreo. This is a really nice little grouping of soloists or semi-soloists. Yeah, and the hinge around. God, so cool. So they're nice, and they're like, my ears, and then so you have all the dancers drop low. Bring it through. I love the shift and the progression, and it's building and building, and the dancers are committing to a forward roll. It definitely felt like a judo, like a martial arts kind of forward roll versus a technical forward roll. I don't mind it. I like the vibe of it. Then you have the absence of movement once again from Holjong. This is showcasing a textbook definition of absence of movement can be a feature and a focal point. I talk about it so often when we look at K-pop choreography. Whenever you have a feature not move but everybody else is moving, you naturally want to watch them because they are the outlier in what we're seeing, right? Even the confetti's moving more than he is. I love it. It's so nice. He's like letting them do their things. It's the same choreography, but you have your secondaries facing back, and then you have your ensemble facing front. My God, it's so gorgeous. And then the wraparound is nice. And then they take it, and they present it back up, and then they travel the arms back down, and then they do a little kick to ball change to come right back up, a walk. So now it feels combative, right? Right here. I love that. Boom, this extra rebound coming from our secondaries. I love that choice. And the lift there with the prep. And then that was very clear and readable on that twist. That was really nice, where he has a sustain in its own little feature moment. It has that, you know, where we have these little there's these little quirky moments that happen that you wouldn't normally see in real life, but most of these things you wouldn't see in real life in these scenarios. But some of these little setups where he goes and he has this clown-like, penguin-like, you know, sustaining is a really nice choice, and it kind of helps validate the position that we're seeing one of our other dancers in, right? It's just so fascinating. I love it. And he goes down, and I like the prep on this. It doesn't feel combative, like a sloppy combative. It's very readable combativeness, where for me, when I hear this type of orchestra ensemble, these types of fits on a stage, I think more of like a ballet, right? Where everything needs to be readable and clear, because you don't tend to get the story. There's no lines, right? You normally have to let dance tell the story, which is why you have to make the diction of it clear, which all of this here doesn't feel muddled. It doesn't feel labored. It feels well conditioned, well thought out, and it feels very, very nice on the eyes. Honestly, it's so good. The hop away, that boom, he even had a little extra breath on the tail end of his hands. That's so cool. There's just a run, a little speed change there is nice. He does a little switch up, a little ball change to come and reset. Holjong's really applied himself quite well in the contemporary genre. Very, very well. I hope that he continues to pursue it or be curious about it, because it looks really good on him because of how his movement quality has been able to transition throughout the styles. He does it very well. And also, we gotta be honest, some of these guys have gotten lucky with not having to be paired up against a ballet dancer, because it's such a different poise and posture. And also, I have heard a lot of people are like, boo to the fact that our ballet dancers have not gotten a ton of time to shine. And I would have to agree. I do wish that the structure of the competition actually made it more equal in that regard. I knew contemporary was going to have an advantage. I was surprised that Korean dance was able to hold it as well as they have. But now actually like really looking at things doesn't really surprise me as much now, but it did earlier. Ballet, they're just, if anything, this is a fantastic growing and learning opportunity for them that they wouldn't normally have the privilege of like understanding or refining these types of skill sets if they were in their comfort zone, if that makes sense. So I feel like the people who grow the most in the show are actually the ballet dancers, which I love. And I hope that they continue to have these opportunities, but I also want ballet to shine. But anyway. And I feel like we do in some regards. I love the reach on that, is nice. Run, run. I love that with our secondaries with the hit down. It's just low and the runs are nice and they go down and then we switch up. So they're still going. Like that, guys, that is like a mountain climber on steroids is what that was. And I like that they're running and they do a nice little jump. And that right there feels like a little jumping jack with the throw. Very clean on the ripple. And they go through the throw, unison, so, and I like the explosion of our secondaries go back, just to take a little ball change in the back is nice, and they reset, they're running, and the reaches are cool, going forward, the little da-da-da, so I like, once again, cohesiveness with our 3 looks great, the swing, swing, go down, up, and then they have their moment, high, they kick, accent, and then they have a fun little finish, and then the lift up was so freaking like nothing, like butter. And they grab him. Nothing crazy there. Love it. With your dancers finishing with the little confetti. Cool, we're here for it. Okay, Parasite B. I'm already learning. I'm looking at my time right now of how long it's taking me to go through these. It's going to be a long video, guys. Okay. Let's chat. Here we go. Korean dance. So we can't chalk it up to the fact it's different style. But you still have the same dancers. I do feel like our ballet section was a smidgen cleaner on this side. Turns nice. And then they drop up. And he goes and has his moment. Subtle step back. The walks are nice. Trot, trot down. They come down and up. He bleeds up. So I like his choice where he goes and has his little tread. This one does feel a little bit more Korean dance, and the weight shift is what I'm noticing here, because something that I'm learning in all of my little papers that I've been blessed with receiving information on, weight shifts are very, very important in Korean dance, just like where your weight goes in ballet when you do a plie versus a releve, which is to bend or to rise. Those things do matter because it influences how you stack in your technique is really a term that we use quite often whenever you're in a pirouette or in your coupe or any position where you're balancing. How your body is stacked is going to influence how consistent you're going to be, as well as the form and how it looks too. So his felt a little bit more Korean dance in posture in comparison to Holjung. His felt more texturized like a contemporary dancer. Very interesting. The turn is cool. Have the sweep around. And that was totally fine. Now this is his choreo, right? Okay, so looking at choreography, I would have to say I do like Kyunyeon's choreo, but I like the secondary dancers of A for that moment. I think I wonder how it would feel to have the same secondaries, but let's actually talk through it. There was so much absence of movement from Holjung. Now I need to go back because I was so focused on my other guys. There's so much to look at. I love it. So the twinkling, the subtlety, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So he does more speed changes. The lift is nice and he steps over. He doesn't really do a lot, but I like his turn at the end. And he has a thread, boom, boom, down, up, ding, ding. So he hits all that. I think that's all his choreo. Now, going here, we have this moment. Oh, hold on. I still missed it. Yeah, so I love his bleed on that. It's gorgeous. So the dancers are still doing the same thing. And then he twinkles. I love that choice. This whole little fold around is gorgeous. And then he goes, does just a little chassé maybe. And he goes and he has a little bleed out of it. He has a little turn, which is cool. I love the sustain on that. The lift is nice to pick up through. That's the same choreo. Okay, that part's the same choreo that Holjung did because they hit the same parts in the same way. We're not chalking that up to Korean dance. I think that's what it is because I think the choreographer wanted that contrast between the low and the high with our dancers. Cool. So the lift up is fine. So I would say it's so interesting. I would say I really love the posture and poise that Holjung brings, but I like this choreography for these moments. Isn't that interesting? This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. I love it though. The little bleed on that's fine. The little hop on that's fine. Now notice this doesn't feel like they have this extra like hike up versus it being one fluid motion. And I've seen this move so many freaking times in the contemporary realm of things, which is why I'm saying, like, if you've ever gone to a studio competition in America and you go to, like, let's say it'll probably start at, I don't know, probably 8 to 10 years in the contemporary, they're gonna pull that mess out the gate in something very, you know, like Celine Dion, which Celine Dion is such a big voice for like a 8-year-old, but that's a completely side topic. But a lot of times you'll see when they do a kip up, that's like a stylized kip up instead of it being so aggressive, and it just depends on the type of track. But yeah, I've seen that so much, which is why I'm giving the note, which is why I can clearly tell the difference between Holjong's and his. Like, he hikes it up so much that it's not readable as much in the clarity of it, and it feels cut off. But I love the commitment of that last part there. Super cool. That trot was really nice, and I like the dainty. It gave a little Jack Sparrow hand vibe, right? And that was clear. Boom, boom, boom. Very readable there, which was nice. The lift is cool. I think I like the dancers. Like, I think I like my main a lot here. I just don't feel like he's cohesive with the secondaries as much, and I don't feel like our secondaries are cohesive with each other, and I think that's what's working against this one for me. The switch up there, I love the mischievous smile on that, which was great. The backwards roll was fine. Yeah, but he does more of a flick versus like a really true fixed pointed perspective, so that's gonna be preferential based on what the choreographer wanted. Bring it around over that photo, smidgen cut off after that sweep. And then the drops down. I love that. Little walk is nice. And I really love this build with the ensemble. Guys, this ensemble choreo looks really, really dope. The amount of speed changes, the contrast of levels. This is really well done. Yeah, he goes down. He has yellow light instead of white, which is interesting, yeah? Or maybe I just got it wrong. I don't know. All that, I think I'm supposed to go up into a bridge, thread it through with the hand to come back up. It was a different freeze, wasn't it? Yeah. Is this the same choreo? Yeah, that part is. He just, he reached up. It wasn't like a sustain, which is what we saw from Holjong. Yeah, bringing it through, the grab. Yeah, that part could have been a little bit more readable, a little bit more clear. The sweeps were fine. He just cuts off his range in his upper body is what I'm noticing here. Cutting off range means he's cutting off how to get from A to B, where he's getting A, and then he cuts off B to move on to the next movement to C, right? And so that's going to be my note that I give him there. It doesn't feel clear whenever you have these strings that have very defined lengths of time in which you need to hold them. Our dancers, everyone else, are holding and they're creating and fulfilling a movement, and so you can tell when somebody cuts it off a little bit more aggressively on this type of choreo. That part not quite as readable. The switch over, yeah, he has a lot of more striking with the energy on that. But I am noticing my main way more here than I was in the last one. It was like all three of them bodied so much. And the secondaries, I think, actually like really caught me in a great way. But it could very simply be my preference mover. He is growing on me so much in how he moves in these performances, because I really liked how he did it in the Vampire Sonata as well. But I know some people were like, it looked like he gave no face. I think it's a preference thing for that. Subjective art, we got to remember that. So they move forward. So this is their own choreo, the switch D, 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 and the nice little insertion in. They go high, mid, low. Sorry, they go high to low, and then they're doing more like tutting integration, which is cool because it's itemized and you can hit a lot of the staccato or the dee 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 dee, like all the little itemized sounds that you hear from the violin. Does it match all the other things that we've set up to that point? We do a lot of these types of strikes and threads and fixed points, but we don't do a ton of tutting. So I think that's why, to me, it kind of feels a little bit off-putting, just that right there. And then the lift was fine, then he hits it over, then you have this angsty moment. That angsty moment was cool. Then they prep into a flip. I understand we're trying to make an impactful moment, but to me, that kind of just felt like a move for the sake of it, not a progression of your character, right? Which, in these types of storyline-based performances, a lot of times when you go see a show, the storyline kind of unfolds before you, and of course they kind of set you up with a synopsis, but that's my note though, is that theirs didn't feel readable, but the twinkling is fine. Yeah, the reach on that, yeah, so notice, you can tell by range of torso, that's the big difference we're seeing here. It was extremities that I was noticing more from group A with our secondaries, but here it's more of the torso, which I think affects their cohesion more out of them, right? Because a lot of them hadn't really worked together a ton, especially when you got different vocab and style. It's just you're just gonna deal with that. Now, notice though, it does look like he's just standing there. It doesn't look like he's making it a moment. And I think, could it be lighting? Maybe it's more reds here than it was in this one. This one was more blues, right? That's what it felt like. I don't know. See, now I gotta go back. We gotta look at the receipts, guys. Here we go. Theirs were more blues, and his was more red. That affects how it looks. So, Mnet, if we are going to actually do a competition on which ones feel like do a true comparison, make the lighting the exact same. I don't know why we decided to throw in the reds, maybe to show the contrast of it being two groups, but the different color causes these guys to not be seen as clearly as my guys here, so I can't appreciate the cohesion of the group too with my ensemble, with my main dancer. I can't technically say, was this dancer just standing there or was he showcasing presence, right? Because I have the blue that helps enhance that white. This red, it just depends on, like, there's not a lot of light advocating for him. So that's a note I'm giving to whoever thought was a good idea to use different lighting for these groups. No, same lighting. Everyone gets equal opportunity. Switching it around, and they do the little bear crawls. I think those are really fun. Boom, the turn is nice, so the reach is fine, and the reach over, the twist, but notice this twist was a little bit more linear versus it literally felt like a true butterfly twist from Holjang. It was very impressive seeing him do that. The lift was cool. The turn was cool. Don't get me wrong, that was nice. Good commitment. I think I love the sustaining pose that ended up happening with our secondaries because they ended up matching with how I paused it. That sustain was really notable. Then from there, they go down, and then he held the pose versus making it a breath. So it's all going to come down to preference on how somebody's texture in our mains read for the whole general consensus of the choreo and the choreographers. So fascinating. Then they turn, switches it up, and they reach. It was nice, run, 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 run. Also, they're not hitting it the same. Some are twisting, some are just isolating. Those make a difference, right? We run, the reach is cool, and also my main didn't quite match the ensemble in that moment. Let's look though. Yeah, he was a little bit early, and then if we're doing it as a comparison, look, he matched it. So those little details. Who was right? I'm assuming Holjang's right because it matched on the music. The throws are nice. The contrast with the secondaries were cool. The walk-arounds, the reaches are cool. Boom. I love that accent there. Ooh, that's what I needed to check. Are they supposed to be the same? Reach. So they're supposed to be the same. They were off on their timing. Backwards roll, but they got it back together. But let me also look here. Here we go. Boom, the reaches. Dun, dun. Ba, ba. Yeah, if he did it on like a sound that didn't really exist, he hit it. This would have been a really cool moment if there was another sound where he made it work with what he was doing. So it actually felt like, here's a moment, then we all move. But you could tell that he was late. Like, it made me question it when you don't want that to be the case. You want to be surprised if they're off, right? So that's my note that I'm giving him. And that throw around is fine. And then he's crawling. I don't know if it's because he's tired or if he's making it a little moment. One of those two. I'm assuming it's just to make it a moment. And he goes and he grabs. So it looks like the lift was already up and then he like went to make sure he didn't fall over. That's what it felt like versus we got him up there, right? Shout out to the ensemble for having to do this mess twice. Well done, guys. Wow. Okay, so my preference, like I've kind of already mentioned, Parasite A is going to be my personal vote. I do think, we got to keep this in mind too, there are more quote-unquote popular people in Parasite A. So some people are going to chalk it up to that. We can't ignore that. It's Mnet. It's part of its popularity, but also Mnet does structure the type of narrative they want to bring to, and they expose who they want to expose when they choose to as well. So all of this is just orchestrated, haha, and how Mnet wants to do it. Out of preference on how they were done in movement quality, my preference is going to go to Parasite A, but this does make me excited for the other ones too. All right, we got Sky Castle A and B. Both have contemporary leads. We got a Yuchan happening as a secondary. Ooh, Sky Cats, I'm assuming the elite getting into a really well-known college, right? They're also in school uniforms, which gives that impression as well. Ooh. Those tables are not stable. They need stoppers on them. This is so cool. Sometimes we let bandits lie. Alright, it's fake. Show what you want through the world. Money on my beauty, everything you want. Play with the lies to hide the truth. People treat each other. It feels like I'm watching a competition dance routine right now. That was a very strange feeling to watch that, because I don't think I've watched something that's so, I mean, ignore the chairs in the back, that's like, I've seen so many routines on the competition stage that operates like that, with like props, with chairs, with papers, that kind of stuff. So it's just fun. It's really, really fun. Okay, here we go. We also have a ballet secondary for this. Same ensemble, which is important if you're competing secondaries and mains. Come on. One of my guys' timing was off, it looked like. Feels like we're missing some like costuming cues. He doesn't have the rainbow light either. He's got the white light. Mnet, what are we doing? Do the same freaking lighting for both groups. labored. But I like, oh man, this is tough. This is tough. I like my main here a lot. Okay, so he does, that is a part of the choreo. Fun. Yeah. 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 Okay. So, if it comes to the general grouping, my preference is B. Main, preference B. Secondaries, group A. Lighting, group B. Guys, so it is important that our lighting, okay. I've mentioned this before, but this is a really, really big point, especially when you're competing stage. Welcome to my neck of the woods. Here's how this works. So whenever you have lighting, and your lighting is choreography of light. It tells so much information to an individual or a viewer, depending on having a lot of it, having not a lot of it, the fact that you have all of these spotlights. It tells a very specific story. Just like, why do we have certain types of music in horror movies? It's to help manipulate your audience to understand or feel a certain way with what they're watching. Your lighting guides your audience to look at what you need us to look at in the framework you want me to look at it. If you're showing red lights, blue lights, the contrast, we're going to view it differently because we do have subconscious association with lighting, like colors to emotion. Red, anger. Purple can be fear. Green, disgust. If you've seen Inside Out, I hope you understand kind of my gist. Blue is going to be, sadness. When you see a white light spotlight down, it feels like I've been caught, I've been exposed, interrogation, that kind of stuff, right? Very isolated. You're in these isolated boxes, which is such a dope start. But the lighting, I think about right here, you end up getting my guy, he's in this contrasting green-red light. Why? Whenever you have my guy right here, he's continuing and he has a white light. Why is that so different? These tell two completely different stories because the focal points, yes, it's a spotlight, but notice he gets washed out. Or it's not as that contrasting, like, isolated perspective of how it ties in the beginning. That's probably why this could have subconsciously been more cohesive to me and more like in line because the lighting was more in line to my preference on this type of concept. So, goodness gracious, man. Who knew that I was going to be tearing into the lighting and not the dancing? Goodness gracious. Okay. So, also, you notice with the tables shouldn't be like scooting that much unless they're just really pushing their weight on the wrong parts of the table. Because some of them got out of alignment enough where it got out of the light, like some of them did. So that's going to be a note that I give to the dancers if there are stoppers on there. But also by having stoppers, it can cause it to not be able to move quickly. And with some of the transitions, they didn't feel like super weighty or labored in this group as much as the second group felt with our secondaries specifically. It's just my biggest note was the lighting, I think. But the combativeness in the beginning is really cool, how we just set up this little explosion, this contrast on this. That boom, doom, doom, so cool. Like, that's really cool. They set it down, do-do-do-do-doom, with a little knock on the table. And then we have our moment, the little reach, so tap, tap, over, and we knock it down, kind of like we're playing, what is it, like, oh my gosh, it's like arm wrestling, right? We knock it on the table, and we go in the accent down, we reach it up, and then we have our moment, boom. We also got to talk about the socks. So our main feature is barefoot, but everyone else, I think, is in socks. Well, or at least our secondaries are in socks. I believe this is Marley floor, and they have like gaffer's tape on down, which is like like the type of tape that you use to tape your Marley, the different type of flooring. With socks, it is a different traction, and I have no idea if these socks are just regular old Heidi-Ho socks from your local Walmart, or if they're socks that have a type of traction on the bottom that allows you to have some sense of like barefooted, calloused turning capabilities. They may have had to add Rosslyn, which is that type of powder. It's like a rock that you can punch into a powder that a lot of point dancers put on. So it helps cause you to not slip. Like that to me, I'm hopeful that they were able to make concessions to where they can turn on those socks, because those can slip so bad, especially when you're not used to dancing in socks. That little bleed over was nice. The throw down is nice. And then they tilt the table up, which is fine. Yeah, and they hop up on the table. And you have this angsty moment. Boom. Angst and angst and angst. But yeah, notice too, there is a way, like we have to be it's out of control, but still in control, because if we're going with an aerial shot and you're going so much that you're making me look at your table and not look at the overall view, you're doing too much in your weight shifts. You need to keep it more isolated to the upper body if you're going to choose to do that. Because the aerial shot caught it, right? And they go down, and then I love the suspension on the ensembles. Carry these guys. They're so important. The reaches are fine. They reach up, so all these little angsty grabs are fine. The turn is fine. And then I like the little, just the back, it's not even a back attitude. It's just a little backwards, a fan derriere. Like it's just doing a fan kick, but in the back. It's really nice. I like it. And then I love just a nice little kick connection. I like the fixed pointed of that leg to allow it to connect there is really nice. You grab that piece of paper, make it a moment. We throw it, little head rotation around. And then we puts it underneath in the desk. It goes high, low. Yeah, but do you see these? You see these socks, right? These are not those. There ain't dance socks that you can purchase, to my knowledge. Like you'd have to make them dance socks. I can't buy that from a dance company right now. Yeah, but everybody else is barefoot except for them. Yo! I mean, I get it. But I like the moment there where they grab the table. It does feel a little bit more communal. Like our secondaries are more cohesive here, meaning like they're more connected than our Group B. But I like Group B's overview more. I love that you had those two run out to the side, and then you had everybody just have a really dope ripple down the sides. It's really nice. But yeah, give people the same freaking lighting. It makes me so mad. That makes me mad, honestly, because that's going to affect how this makes people feel. It will. Like, to me, I don't know what the colors mean. It's to show contrast, what, at least with the white, I feel like you're telling me that we're still isolated, right? I don't know. Is it to bring empowerment, something? I don't know. Give everyone the same opportunity to make it actually mean something. That's what that just read to me, is that it didn't mean anything. It was just a random light that we just chose to go with. The reaches are cool. I love that choice with his accent. It was more so a sustain as he goes and brings it around. Really nice. The reach high, low, and then you have your dancers, boom, boom, boom. But notice that your dancers, you can't barely see them because this type of light doesn't reflect as much as the white one does, right? That's why it feels the way that it does. I don't mind it. It's low-key giving me that 2000s, like a 2000s angsty show, and I'm talking about like in America. The transition here was nice. It was, I always tend to fight for, if you're going to have a desk, to make it mirrored in your transition, meaning that if I were to have these dancers get to their spot in a certain amount of time, their mirror, so whoever's on the opposite side, I would want them to get to their spot around the same time when it comes to the aerial shots. But once again, that's an ensemble thing, ensembles in both, and if Mnet's giving different camera angles, it's not going to matter. It's just going to be luck, honestly, on what kind of shots you get. Which, to me, I love a comparison competition all day long, but I'm also an individual where it's, if you're going to truly do it, it needs to be under as close of circumstances as possible. They got it right with the ensemble overlap. Great. You got it right with everyone having to do the same choreo, except for these little excerpts. Great. Lighting, no. And camera work. So far, I haven't been able to notice a bigger discrepancy in the camera, but it could just be because I'm just so caught up in these freaking lights. So it's really nice. Do-doom, do-doom with the drop is cool. That was beautiful. Beautiful straddle. I like they hit it over, boom, boom. And it's interesting that we chose to make that unison with our dancers versus making it mirrored. Normally, when you see people in this kind of V, you normally have them expand outward to help frame your feature in the center, but we could barely see him because of this light, right? It's a cool light, but it depends on what intention you have for it, right? The little boom, 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 boom. I don't know what he was trying to do musicality-wise, which is fine. Unison's whatever. Like, that's totally fine. It doesn't bother me. I just found it as an interesting choice. I wish I was to do that. And I like the fold over with the knee. And then, boom, the little angsty, like, It did feel like he was a bit unhinged, which could be the intention of this. The kick was nice. They take their tables over to the side. And then you have our ensemble. That's more ensemble note, giving them just to be a little bit more equal. The fan's nice. So theirs is really, really nice. I like the contrast of levels with the dive low. That reminds me of Group A from Parasite. That was also my preference in choreo too. The reset, he grabs, and then a sense of combativeness, and they move it through. Oh, Yuchan is such a ballet dancer through and through. I love it. That leap was gorgeous. Yep, and then from there, having all your dancers fall. So there must be something on these tables to cause it to not scoot out. My guy on one of my secondaries, he must have really was going for it to cause his table to scoot like that. If they were able to fall off the side of that table with their weight that way, it's interesting, right? And so they come up, and I like having everybody there in a nice little clump, and then he throws it. And then he comes up, and he moves them over to the side. Wow, nice little shout, little C jump coming out of it. Taking the arms, little swing through. This choreo, it makes sense. If they did auditions for this, it makes sense why you had two contemporary dancers make it, or like make it to the mains. This is so different than that poised, quirky vibe that from Parasite. And I have no idea with Squid Game and Oldboy how those are gonna fare, but this one is such an angsty, contemporary vibe to me with the mains choreo. So if they did an audition, I see why. The reach down, and a nice little throw on the tail end of that. The turn is cool. Then they go nice little just draping of the arms down. So there's your unison section. Cool. Then he has a solo moment. They reach over. He throws it, which is nice. His is cohesive with the group. I love that illusion on the end of it. Is really nice. Up. Nice. And his actually matched Yuchan's little moment that he did earlier. Not in the choreography that they made, but in Yuchan's moment in the table near the beginning. I like clocked him because it is such gorgeous vibes. The reach is nice with the accent on the tail end. So the roll's cool. They go high and boom, I love that little contrast with the chest. It's cool. The slide is nice, and then you have half of them go down, half go up. Go up in accent. Then they do once more and just a nice little illusion on the tail end. And then he still has this little moment. They're all how they committed to their face was really nice here. And he throws it. Timing was really nice there with that. And then he looks back. So in general, I can see this one pulling a win. It's going to be close. I would say this one's closer than Parasite to me, because it's so itemized for things that we're looking at. If that makes sense. It's so interesting. Gosh, I love the fact that these exist, but man, Mnet, it feels like they're so close, and then they take 3 steps backwards. Goodness. But notice, same lighting in the beginning. Thank you, right? Give me that the whole time. Why is that so difficult? And then my timing is off. So I'm going to be honest. I think my guy right here could single-handedly be a big component as to why this group doesn't win. Because a lot of the prop mishandling, a lot of the timing was off, and then some of the choreography felt very labored. And I think he's my common denominator in all of that. And so it's Taesuk, which I hate saying that, though. I love the fact that he's in the position that he's in. He's good, don't get me wrong. But if you're doing a direct comparison challenge, which is what this is, those details really matter. And so his timing was off in a unison section. As a secondary, that's gonna be, you see what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a problem. Knock up, the reach there, that's fine. So he's already there, and it goes to-doon, hit with the accent, but he comes and brings back up. Could it just be because of his improv that he did that caused it to feel that way? Everyone was supposed to swing. He was early. I'm gonna give him that. Yeah. So he was too early. Accent down. He brushes it up. Then we have this little angsty moment on the tail end. That felt very readable to me. I like that. There. The left is nice. Boom. Get up on the tables. Do we have an arrow shot here? Boom. Yes, we do. And so for me, I prefer the fact that this table is not super crooked. We have our guy in ensemble who wears crooked, but you can't control ensemble. I really only am in kind of like critiquing with our secondaries and our mains, because they're the ones that are being heavily critiqued in these challenges. Contrast was really nice there between our main and everybody else. The grab, the throws, it feels very placed there versus very, you know, grabby, which you want to make it look like you're committed to your character. There, it just felt like this is choreography and being told to place my hands. So that'd be a note I'd give to my secondaries for that. I would say both could have worked on it. Could have been a little better on the commitment there, but I would say the group A did that a little better. I like that sometimes, like the double on that from our main on that. The grab is cool, and then the kick up's fine. I would say both look fine there. He rips it, and then he has his moment. He goes, tucks it underneath the table. Cool. I love that we even get to see the logistic, like the same logistic of putting the paper in the desk with both. The accent hit. It does feel more placed coming from one of my guys. Golly! Oh, it's so unfortunate. I'm so sorry, Taeseok, but even there, you see he had the amount of, like, you can just see him trying to figure out how to carry something versus just taking it and running. Like, it doesn't feel like we're, you know, grabbing and going. There's always a struggle, is what it feels like. There. I love the little accents from both of them. One ends up doing an aerial, one ends up doing just a little tour moment, right? Cool. Hasei, I love that. Like, for me, I'm digging the white light. It's cool. It feels cohesive, and notice the shadowing that ends up happening because of these lights right here, right? Like, this kind of stuff really makes them look different. I don't mind either, but if you're gonna do a comparison challenge, have them do the same light. Golly. I know some of you are like, Jess, you keep talking about it. It matters. It absolutely matters to preference. Little kick was nice, if you want. And then he hits it, boom, and I love that choice with the shoulder. He spins it around. I really like his form. I think preferentially, I do like how he's doing the choreography in comparison to my guy in A. But remember, it's preference. I like the strong, clean aesthetic about some of these things. That transition was nice, seeing that there. Felt cleaner. The hit, now, this side over here felt off, and it could be because some of our guys were still transitioning the table, but that's an ensemble note. I'm giving that. Watch, right? The heads are off over here. This is more unison. This is really true. The reaches are cool. The rollover was nice. Bum, bum. Part of me really wanted to see that boom with the knee on the table, but it didn't show a good shot of that, really that much at all. I would say we got more height from one of our dancers over here versus both of them. Angsty moment with our members, our dancers is cool. Now this is their choreo. Notice how labored it looks. It feels combative, which is, I feel like they were given a kind of idea of what they needed to make. So I like my dancer here. He has a really nice commitment to his choices, but how my other guy is setting it up, it just doesn't feel believable. And he lifts up. That was a really cool finish. Part of me wishes I got a front shot of that versus a top shot, because then you'd really see the line, but that's just whatever. So everyone's kind of crawling through. A little slide in there. So now we have our moment. He throws. And he runs. Run, run, run. Let's go. Shout it out. Beautiful C jump out of that. I think I said that the first time too. Angsty moment. We accent up, and then we do a little 3-step turn. Dive it down. Ball change. A little hop out of it. So there's his moment. A little 2 head nods. Head, head, head with the turn. His matches the vibe of the rest of the choreo to me. It doesn't feel out of place, but neither did my guy in A. So when it comes to mains, it's really going to be preference toss up. Both held their own within their niche very well. We got to chalk it up to lighting plays a role too, and how we see them. And then with our secondaries, I think A pulled it very well. Calypso's out of that with a backwards run, the backwards roll, goodness. And then we, nice little just hinge around, which is cool. Back to unison. Yeah, it's just this camera angle just gives that same type of graininess when you're watching, I don't know, just any competition show, not even dance show. It just has that kind of film grain on it. It could just be the fact that I don't know, I feel like I'm operating at 1080. I don't know why it's this not, It's not like super clear. I don't mind it though. It's really fun. It feels nostalgic to me because of this type of lighting down here. It's giving that 2000s art show vibe. God, I love it. Hit down and I like just the back illusion on it. I don't know why I don't know why we needed to have the shirt go off. It is part of the choreography. Maybe to show that huge contrast. Maybe that. So the throw. Yeah, timing I think was, that's fine. It is what it is, how it was cut. In general, I mean, this one's going to be close in other components, but when it comes to the secondaries, I can see Sky Castle A take that, but this is pretty good for sure. We have Squid Game. I like the quirkiness of it. It's cool. That's a tricky thing to dance in. That long coat like that. Okay. Okay, my vote's gonna go to B for this one. Ooh, wow. The secondaries, sheesh. And honestly, Junu, very, very well done. Very well done on his role. Wow. Kyung-ho, absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal technician, and he held it down so, so well. I really do think this grouping right here, Hyun-ho, what he chose to do, this is, if he was my breaker, the one that has the breaking experience, he showed it here. I love what they ended up doing on that. Oh my god, he ended up doing a mill. Ah, so fun. Okay, here we go. We're gonna talk about it with A. I think with the mains, I would give it to Group B. Secondaries, heavy Group B. Ensemble's ensemble. I think the ensemble made less mistakes in A than in B. The lighting, I appreciate a little bit better here because a lot of it is like this isolated little moment here with the lighting. If they didn't have that in B like they did in A, you notice it is like contrasting, it's pink and blue. Those feel different, right? So the pink helps tie into, of course, the pink is like you're playing the game. And I know some people are probably like, why didn't they have our feature wear pink with the green and everybody else, you know, have that contrast? I know the reason why is because they're all players in Squid Game, because I've seen Squid Games. I get that, and the people who are making the game are in the pink, or unless you're the masked man. So I understand for the sake of the storyline, they needed all of the individuals in the green, and they did something for the main to make them stand out, having the pink handprints. I do think that the contrast, it is way harder to find your seconds here than it is in all the other ones. The other ones, you had like the socks, at least. It's still a liability in my honest opinion, but this was really tricky if you did not notice the cuts. So I like the sound. Here they have it with the pink. Like, okay, here we go. The combativeness is really cool. I like, he gives like a strength sense of it versus a, like, I think it's I don't know, it gives a different kind of, it's a different kind of strength energy. So it's going to come down to preference. Some people really, really, really love how he moves. I do too. For this specific concept and for how it's coming across, my preference is going to go to B, but it's how he reaches, but also they have a subtly different camera angle, so we couldn't quite see what his commitment was facially like we could in the other one. The other one we were able to tone set here quicker than here, which is the unfortunate thing. Run forward, bump, bump, bump. So all of this here with the extensions, expansions, the smile there. I like the little rotation is cool. The lift, we go down. I like the little brush going on there. And it goes down and up. Could also be camera shot, which is why it's so hard to see the different groups compared to B. Oh, frustrating. Yeah, so they go. I like the energy with the little kick around. And then he has this little moment with the little port-a-bras. The little hop over. He goes down. He's moving forward. He picks up. Now, honestly, dancing in this long freaking coat, even though there's a slit in the back, it's so much extra movement that your body is just not used to moving in. So that's well done. Well done for our mains. They had probably one of the harder outfits to dance in, for sure, just because of the length of it. I love the little C jump with the throwing of the sand. Super cool. And I wonder if they shot this one last, because having to clean up and then have another group compete, that just sounds like a nightmare, honestly. The little bridge, no, sorry, just a little, what is it? Like we're going back into a bridge, just a hinge. I don't know why I can't English today. I'm trying, I'm so sorry. But yeah, the hinge to the back and having, I think, commitment where they're all down. It just looks like he's laying down versus I'm knocked out or I'm stunned. Like there was a different kind of vibe. I don't quite know as much clarity of storyline with facials. And for this type of stage, facials do matter, even though for me, I am more used to show me with your body more so with your face. But here, because of the camera capabilities, your face does matter and play a role in telling us your story. He slowly comes up. And then you have our ensemble in the back, which is cool. The crawling is fine. Backwards. The groupings, the ensemble, I think, is cleaner in A than they are in B. It's so fascinating. Yeah. I love the itemized polyrhythms. So delegation is really cool. So I like that. Boom, boom, boom. Very nice and clear on that. I would say Young Ho's was very readable the first time we saw that. Very nice. Very nice. The rolls out of it is cool. I felt like timing is a smidgen off there. Oh man, there's so much to talk about. I always feel like I'm missing something that we could be talking about, and so I'm sorry about that. The turn, the little whip arounds with a lot of our choices with our turns, the hops, the jumps are nice, and then I love the nice explosiveness with the sustain going on in the chest. It's really nice. And then you have my secondaries right there, the explosions to the floor. I love the floor work being pursued, and they are creating a sense of, I don't know, hecticness, but it's still very structured. Like the ensembles have to do their part to where it all feels like little groupings, and then you have your secondaries kind of going wild everywhere, which is really cool. The little cartwheel with a little touch in the center is nice. Now this feels like that's a Kyung-ho little modification is what that felt like, right? Because we did not see that, I don't think, in B. So now I gotta check it. That makes me so curious. Oh, his was different. So yeah, Kyung-ho freaking bodied that, that's for sure. That's gorgeous. The turn. So if we're going off of actual technical execution of that section, if that's what was supposed to happen, like a double cabriole, or just some, yeah, if that's what was supposed to happen, Kyung-ho bodied it for sure. So very clear on this. This kind of stuff can get lost in translation so fast and can get muddled, but it was very clear and easy to read. I would say the bleed down with the fingers. I think it needs, I don't know. Connection of phrasing, I think, could be a smidgen better, connecting between these choices into these choices, but that's such a subtle thing. Everybody did a great job. That's probably why it's like, some things are more gonna chalk up to preference on, it's not a technique that he has to do in his day-to-day, so it's not gonna naturally have that phrasing, like if it was somebody like myself doing it, but I also don't do cabrioles on the daily either, so we get it. We pick our battles here. I like the run around. Definitely feels combative, which is cool. And then you have the frozen dancers to the back. Forward roll is fun. I like having our two up. And then he's on the ground. Opposition. The sand's a really cool texture and textile. It just makes things a little different. I'm very curious. Like, I really hope Mnet actually lets us see the behind the scenes on them getting used to the sand, the costuming, like actually seeing that kind of stuff and not just however they've been formatting it with just audition. We've already seen it, right? Like, get through the initial audition. Don't do anything crazy to change it. Just let us as an audience just be okay with who got selected in the auditions. Or you should have changed them to not throw some weirdo rule in there. Make it set up from the jump, because that's more of a realistic what happens in the workspace, more effective than whatever you're trying to pull. But I just would love to learn more about costuming, because I know for me, when I've been exposed to these types of costumes, how it makes me feel. But like for, you know, the general dancer here, how does it feel for them compared to what they're normally used to wearing? It's like little things like that. And most people don't think about how long that thing is and how it's going to be messing with your turn. So the fact he can pull a double, triple, whatever, and hold it and sustain at the end shows he understands his body well enough to make modifications where appropriate. So his turn was cool. So I like the, what is it? Just the axis of opposition. I liked how he chose to do that. That was actually really nice. Boom, and then he accents down. But my other guy made it more of like an impactful moment at the bottom. He made it more of a moment with the whole hand. My other guy made it like an actual flick moment. I guess that makes sense. Now R2 right here, they have their moment over. So he slowly brings it back. So he, I think, had to modify what he did in order for their grouping to work. Maybe. We're about to find out. Little rolls. Definitely combative. And I see the levels, which is something I normally prefer. The grab is fine. The throw is fine. He's reaching, so it looks like we're trying to combat. But also we're kind of it's not wasting time, but we're kind of waiting for somebody to come grab me versus I'm actually functionally moving in the space, if that makes sense. Very subtle. Then right there, they have this gun of combativeness there. That's technically, I mean, if we're gonna get technical, it's not really his role to shoot him unless he has a gun, which, you know, and that's the guys in pink, but I digress. It's a completely irrelevant thing. I see why they did it. And the imagery of it makes sense to Squid Games, you know, that's fine. But I love the contrast with the speech age. That shot was gorgeous. Then he has his choreo with a violin. It's really, really nice. Boom, boom. It does feel like he's rushing through some transitions to get to certain moments, so I can't appreciate the transition. But that's just me. I love that. Like, that turn is what I'm talking about. Like, for me, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by that, guys. Like, that's great. And that outfit, good God. Gorgeous. Golly, with a freaking switch. Turning switch leap, man. I know they call it something different here, but that's fine. Yeah, just how they shot that excerpt was really, really nice. I wish they kind of reflected that in the second one, but I like the throws with the sand was really cool. I think that his solo matched the music well. Did it match the other things in the choreography? Not as much, but there was the double cabriole we were seeing in the mix. I don't know. I would say that's more preference. And he goes, and I like the circle choreo where they do little chasses out of it with the arms. I like how he's building it back up. It's quirky. It's a vibe. I like it. It matches the ting, ting, ting. That childlike, sinister vibes for sure. We've gotten shot now. That sucks for our seconds, doesn't it? And then we have my guy right there. He does a double. Now, he nails it the first one. In the second one, he kind of falls a little bit out of it. And they do a throw, and they catch him like a basket. Okay, fine. It just makes me curious whenever we encounter that kind of stuff. Let me see. We have this basket. Double. You noticed that he fell out of it, right? But you saw how they shot that one. It was a zoom in, but here it was so... What is it? It was so close up that it kind of just felt like a basket toss. So your camera choices... Well, no, it's technically the same. I just need to get over it. It's fine. It's similar. At least they tried to replicate that part. We'll give them that. That's fine. Fine. Boom, boom, down and up. I love that with a little lift right there. Hit up with the sustain on the end. And they do a little throw on the tail end of that with the sternum. They hit and hit. I love that. I would say with the unison section, having it and then drape over and everybody shows that really nice clear pink. That was really well done in this section. Yeah, and the swings, and I like the cannon because by having it this clean, it allows you to very clearly see the dynamics, which is your cannon, which is what we're seeing there. Little swing, swing, which is cool. Hit, hit. And it goes side, side. Out in. We have our little subtle moment, boom. And then they're like little Dracula moments, and he does a slow walk. And then they're facing each other. Now, why? Not quite sure. I don't quite know why we had that moment there. You know, I think that's where emotions can really be helpful to help let me know, is this a good thing that we're seeing each other? Is it not a good thing? I don't know. Anyway, we're here. It looks like we're in a zombie apocalypse, doesn't it? Ding, 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 ding. And then notice you could really see from the jump his emotions here, right? His reach up is fine. He goes down. He runs forward. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. So I like the seconds on that. It's if it's not a height thing, it's their range and how they're going through their movements. It just feels nice to me. It's nice. It's more clear and readable to me. I love my main on that choice. He goes back. The turn. Oh my God, that's so cool. Hold on. Yeah, jump on that. I like the little presentation, the stoicness, the hop over is cool. He moves forward, boom. I love that, boom, with the explosion on the end of it, really nice. I would say what Kyung-ho unfortunately doesn't have, and it's just because of his training, in ballet you don't do it that often, and so I'm honestly shocked of his diversity just from the jump for his experience. It's so cool. But my guy right here, like, there's certain things, which also makes it interesting that he represents Korean dance. This explosiveness that comes from a lot of his choices is something you don't see in ballet, really at all. But you're able to see him do very, very well. He knows how to work a long coat, though, because of the hanbok fits, right? I think that's what I'm noticing there. That right there, like, come on. Like, the whole explosion, he freaking bodied that. And then right there, he's literally like, what just happened? It feels very, very relatable. Like, it feels functional and productive to the space. Then they go high-low, and they're slowly moving back. I like the commitment. It's giving very frog, right? But do you see what I mean? I just think the ensemble is way cleaner in the first one, but I love his presentation of just a slow walk. It's really nice. Takes his coat, and then it goes ding, 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 ding. His is just as readable. The swing is nice, the bring up cool. And then they do the same cartwheel like before. That part was just, it felt more like glissades. You know, that's fine. I'd say Kyungho got him beat on that. I'd say Kyungho also had, his was a little bit more clean on that part. But his phrasing I like. So it's interesting. It's all going to be subjective, which all of this is. Let's call it what it is. It's going to be preferential too. His phrasing is my preference. But Kyungho's execution is my preference. Golly on that part. And it's so itemized too, depending on the section. You know, the turn is cool. They go to the inside, and there's still combativeness. He goes down and up. And then we do a little forward roll. Has this moment to slide through. His phrasing could be a little bit better. Phrasing meaning like how he's connecting through the movements could be a smidgen better. The roll is fine. Boom. So he takes it. And he keeps it to the ground. So Kyungho made it a bigger point to make it really a big moment. His was very small, but he had the camera to work for it. Now, these secondaries, Lord help us. The combativeness is really cool, but it still has a childlikeness about it, like the leapfrog, right? I like that because we have the whole premise of the song. Also, whenever you listen or like look at the scenery, it's very like childlike. You're playing games, but it's sinister in nature, right? That's why hearing lullabies in horror movies creeps us out, because we associate lullabies with children. We normally do not associate children with death. So having children in horror movies too makes us go, something ain't right here, right? In XG's terms, something ain't right. Anyway, but I digress. So having them integrate a childlike game like a leapfrog actually ties in the scenery and ties in the track very well. And he stayed front too, so I like this going on in the back behind him. It's kind of dope. So I think it's interesting. And then he ends up doing a little mill out of that, and he freaking just hopples over in a forward roll, which is nice. And I like how we go and you kind of hinge it to allow him to roll over the back. And then they end up having an accent on the tail end of that, which is cool. They drop down, and that also feels like pata. It's cute. And Mirishi goes out in, and then they have their moment, and then they exit down, and he lifts up, and then they're looking, and then they roll out of the way, and then you have this combativeness on the other sides, and then he goes shh, and then everybody goes into a speed change. Boom. Now all of this, very nice, very stoic, but it ties in because he ends up adding this in, ties into the rest of the choreography. So his feels more cohesive. Two, cohesion is a huge word that I'm using in this entire thing, rightfully so, because how does the choreography these dancers are putting in this work, how does it mesh with what already exists to be compared with? His matches very, very well. And he goes in the reaches. I like this twinkling in, it's really nice. The reach is super cool. Yeah, I like that little moment there. It was a little abstract, a little fun. And then he goes through, it's like a little fun little cat there, right? And then he rotates it, and then he fixed points that rotation around. That's cool. Then he comes down and up, and he does a little bleed down the side. He grabs, and he says, come hither, up and down. That was really nice. Very, very nice. Now the throwing of the sand is cool. And then he has his moment, the stoicness, his absence of movement. Match that do-do-do-do. We haven't ignored that anymore, thank you. Then he reinstates what we already saw earlier on, but I think it's cleaner this time. Then he, boom, with the rebound. Oh, melting, love it. Shampoos down, the reaches are nice. Now we're getting shot. Uh-oh. He's going in, he's like, hey, are you okay? And now we're being nice. And then he goes and has a little finish. He grabs and high-low. For me, we didn't make the basket toss as much of a moment here, which to me is a preference. Basket toss is basket toss. It just feels like a setup with a catch. It doesn't feel like it contributed positively to the routine. So that's just a choreography note to whoever choreographed and put that in. How it was shot just didn't work favorably to me, so my preference is so small, but my preference is how it was shot in B. But we're not going to hold that against the dancers at all. Oh, we're basket running? Are you kidding me? Did I not catch that until now? What in the world? Hold on. I gotta double check it. Yeah, well, he kind of ended up moving a little bit like this in A with the shoulders, but here it felt like a basket run. Yeah, I think if we added a little extra with the with the jacket, I think it would have read a little easier, but I didn't catch it until technically now. So we're gonna let that as an escaped basket run in the eyes of me. That's life. And they take it up and the throw with the sustain on the end. Love that hit with love it with the clap. Come on now. And a little angsty drop on this, on the torso is nice. Unison looks cool. And hold. Now this one feels like we're just kind of covering up the top of the shoulders. I would say my seconds and my main did not do this as clearly as A. That was like crisp, ideal format. Ensemble did pretty decent. Of course, my guy in back center, nah, not quite clean, because he even dropped one of the sides of it. So I think it's a very interesting jacket. It's so interesting, right? And he swings up, and then we go bring it down. Then you have the little sway, sway, high, low, sway, sway. But at least with the unison with everybody, it definitely meshed very well with all the groupings. When it needed to be unison, it felt unison. Except for that one little aspect. So they go back, and they still move forward. And then look on his face, right? It's giving me a sense of something, right? It makes it feel like this is a good thing that we're encountering each other. We survived. We're at the end. You know, it kind of felt like that, which, is that what our intention is? Maybe. So my preference is going to go to B, but both A and B held their own mighty fine. What one had, the other one didn't, and vice versa. That's what makes these really, really fun. Old boy, here we go. A lot of ballet dancers in this one. The lighting's really cool. That was dope. We got some meshies. A lot of lifting. What it gives. Combativeness, of course, but just a different realm. It's gonna be Battle of the Lifts. Wow. Some of these mannerisms remind me of Cats from 1995 or 1999, one of those. But this has nothing to do with Cats, but everything to do with the Broadway of who was acting it at the time. Wow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Some of these camera shots are interesting. Wow. He's just getting drug about, my guy. Oh. Bless it, bless it. Okay. This is going to be the battle of the lifts and how seamless they can be. This is going to be so interesting. Mugan. Mugan. Is this where he gets to have his, like it literally, Mugan's back tat is all blacked. Yo. I bet it's mesh. I think it's black mesh. Is that that's Mr. Purple, isn't it? Right there. Who got our main for this. Look at that! It's gonna be preference again, but that's what makes it a good challenge. You know what I mean? No, no, don't take me. No, no. Okay, so interesting. So interesting. Okay, my main, oh man, it's gonna be preference so much because the lifts still worked for B, but how they got into them carried more of a weightiness, not because of who is being lifted, but I think it's a mix of that, but also a mix of the type of storyline of everything's just, you're just in pain. It's worn, right? So it still worked. His felt freaking majestic. Like I was watching a whale just, you know, or a dolphin dive in the water, and you're just like, just taken aback by just the beauty of it is really what was so incredible about this. This is going to be tough. I would say for mains, my preference is going to be A. I think I liked the aggressiveness of B group near the end for sure. I think A had a connection to the ensemble through having a ballet dancer in the ranks, because remember, ensemble's the same for both, right? And you have heavy ballet involved. You got 5 out of your 8 that were ballet. But you have 2 Korean rep, 1 contempt, and then you had 2 Korean and a contempt. So could that influence the general cohesion of your group? My gut says yes, because your Korean dancers, I mean, they're all Korean, but the style, they're only an ensemble. So then you would also have here, but if you look at the general style that's reppin', it's ballet. So having a ballet middle ground actually I think worked really well in their favor here. And also my contemporary guy is so like, he has that ballet sustain, if that makes sense, where when you see like height and you see how things get executed, there's such like a little extra breath behind it. It ties very well into this. I don't know. I really liked both for different reasons. And that's what makes this fun. Like, at the end of the day, whoever wins, I really don't care, because all of it is so good. I'm proud of everybody. I am so proud of freaking Mugan over here pulling what he pulled. Like, he's doing stuff that you don't do in Korean dance. And I was seeing him pulling it. I'm just so proud of everybody. Goodness gracious. I know some people are like, Jess, there's styles that are, you know, being underrepresented. I do think ballet is being underrepresented when it comes to these concepts. I get it, because not everybody can really pull a ballet posture thing. It takes years to get, you know. With contemporary, it's fusion, so it's already built in. The hybrid textures and overlap for genres represented. I am just, goodness gracious, I am just floored at the progress that all of these dancers have made over the course of the show. And I love the fact we have so many concept shoots to appreciate as well. Okay, let's go from the top. Hae-hyun. All of this in the beginning, how they drag him and the very abruptness of this was really nicely phrased. And the fact that he was able to, like, take his feet and kind of run in place, and the kind of, you know, combativeness of our captors, he's moving, and how we're prepping, the lifts are so well done. The lifts are so well done. And then how he slowly is there with the eye contact, and then our oppressor captor, he's like letting him down ever so slightly. Then they lift him up, which is cool. Not really lifting, but he shoots his face up. The walks are really cool, but notice the but the camera shots do present a subtly different story, or they're showing us a story in a different, you know, angle, which angles matter just as much as your lighting, just as much as your movement. So that's why I'm still going to stand by what I've said this whole time. If your lighting is not replicated the same, if your camera shots are not replicated the same, I got a problem with it if you're going to do a comparison challenge. This one I think was a bit easier to do than the other ones because of they didn't have, I mean, they had environmental factors about it, but it's not the same as, like, I don't know, the Parasite. Parasite had a lot of very interesting logistics involved in it. Here, I was able to focus more on the feature, like our main dancer and our secondaries, more so in this one than in B. And could it be lighting? Maybe, I don't know. But I love how he's literally like lifting and he's just kind of being held there. I love the strength of that. They let him down. And then he's just, it literally looks like they held him upside down until he got tired, right? So he lifts, hold on, we gotta go back. Go back. Lift him up. Yeah, and the dangled effect of that is so cool. Slow it down. Done. Drug him. Nice. Boom. Cool. And that right there was cool. So now it starts immediately, instead of near the end where a lot of them have been hanging out with choreo, theirs is right from the jump, which is very fun. And then, oh, see, now we gotta compare. It's the lighting. Contrasting red, blue. Complementary magenta, purple. It's subtle. It's subtle, but that kind of stuff, it influences. All of it does. Bum, bum, bum. And then you have all your dancers kind of piano off or accent off. I love it. You can see, I mean, I see what we're going for here. His shoulders are a little bit raised. I think that was the intention of it. Ding, 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 ding. It wasn't the strongest, honestly, out of the two. It doesn't quite feel strong. I like the level contrast. I like the little gimmick of the smile. It feels more like clownish than it does captor oppressor, right? The kick there, the turn, dun 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 dun. It does feel like dun da 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 da. Like the phrasing of the strings is probably why I'm picking up what I am. And then we slowly come up. But this main, oh god, it's incredible. He's just able to be lifted like nobody's business. And the kick on that, the extension on that's really nice. Then you have all your dancers that are all in-threaded in the back. Really nice seeing that. The kick there with the assist is cool. And then, of course, and I like the little pigeon set here, little Z set. And then I like the hinge happening on this. So there's just a lot of really cool moving parts of this. And just the sheer amount of metal in this gel. Like, I was picking up on gel because of the environment. Makes sense. The little boom, I love that. At the end, with a little slide through, we come up. The push, it was really nice. And then the lift, oh, the push-up to handstand was gorgeous, was clean. That was really clean. It's very easy to read what's going on. The little snake through, the lift there, and they grab him. So he waited for them to grab. And it's not like a wait, like I'm waiting for the next thing. It's he was able to hold it and keep going back, and he wasn't falling to where they had to catch him. They gripped him out of the sustain, which was really cool. That was my God, so good. That was so good. That lift. Oh my God. And that right there with that little extra oof at the end before he finishes it out. Oof. And they lift him up. Gosh. Bum, bum, bum. And they bring him down. Of course, what were they doing there? Let's see. My seconds were doing... One of them chose to arch it, and then the other chose to do just a turning jeté, yeah. And then he has his moment here. They fold it in, which is cool. This melts, boom, boom. I love that with the full down swing, swivel up. Then he hits it, brings it more forward. His arms, he's just so strong. I love the little Ranajam around, the lift of the leg. And of course you see this little dainty confetti. We know that's coming. And the accent, boom, I love the fling of his torso on this. It's really fun. Then the reach. Now I am seeing fingerprint overlap of this movement quality to his own choreo he did in the original choreo drafts when he got first class first time. It feels that way, right? I like the little with the look at it. That's cool. And then we branch it up and we take the arms traveling it up and down. We have this angsty little pull with the hands. And then it goes ding. And we have little close-ups, which is cool. Yeah, I think it's by Mr. Ballet Man. That reminds me of there's just certain characters that you see in Cats where they the Broadway one that was on VHS way back in the day, seeing how he held himself there was just very committed to character on a Broadway sense, which made it really fun for me. It gives very Broadway to me. It could be because of just the types of fits, gives that Newsies vibe, right? And if the gel cells are over exaggerated and larger than life, it bleeds that kind of energy in a great way to me. Bleed over is nice. The switch up right there. I love that where he goes in like he's about to do a freaking, I don't know. He goes, that's like a breaker kind of setup going into that. And then right there you have your secondaries. So they go, boom, nice little accent with the arch is cool. This little army crawls are nice. The commitment's really cool. And slowly bringing him back up. So they're grabbing him. Boom, da 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 da, like he's running out of breath. They turn him. Everybody is, having a little moment to kind of jump on him, which is cool. They pick him up. I love that choice. And then you have the ensemble coming in. Dive roll. Oh, Lord, was so good. The reach was nice. There's just a captivation on just being really, really good at getting height in your jumps and your lifts being like nothing. That is a captivating element and is a competitive element in these types of things. But what's going to weigh heavier? Is it going to be that, or is it going to be the commitment to character? Both commit quite well. It's just a preference on who looks more, I don't know, innocent in getting killed off in a not in your favor way, if that makes sense. I don't know. So interesting, because even the blurb that they gave is still pretty vague, where it allows a sense of character development. Is he guilty for being there? There's like, it's an unexpected reason. I don't think the description says he's innocent per se, but it's just it's mysterious why he's there. It gives off that vibe. Unless I read it completely wrong, which is fine. Reach forward is fine. It goes up, which is nice. Turn around. Then he has his own moment now. They're all chill. Little chasse, does a little kick to accent the elbow, bringing it down to the head. Little bevel, trace it down onto the floor. I love that choice, was really cool. And then he brings it in, goes to rotate, he does a little hinge up, goes right back down. I love that everybody, it feels... yeah, so that felt like a canon where he goes and then the ensemble responds. That was really cool into that back. Not even a Valdez. It's something similar to what we've kind of already seen from him already. The reach and they bring him. Definitely, they're just able to take him wherever they want. That's amazing. Love that. They go high-low. They grab him, bringing him up. He's like, ah. And then he gets knocked out. I love that. That was cool. I do think it felt a little placed in this little... killing moment. It could be camera shot and how we got to see it set up. I don't know though, but that was very well done. And of course the little confetti of we killed him, okay, boo, that's sad that we had to kill him, but anyway, bringing it right here from the top. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Jong Chol is Mr. Purple. So he moves to the walk. He's like, what? I like that, where it's like, I'm awake, what's going on? I love that character. But then as he's still there, it feels like a different change in character. And then they grab him, lift him up. The reach is nice. Yeah, and it's just, yeah. I don't know. It just feels like a different... I can't quite wrap my brain around it, which is probably what makes it so fun, is there's such an artistic preference or perspective in play that I'm trying to make sense as to why they feel different. It's just a different avenue for me to have to navigate through on here that I normally don't have to. That's so cool. Okay. With my first guy, there was more time bled through the lift, it felt like. Here, like the lifts were more of a moment. Here it's more of the conversational, like, stage presence moments, possibly. Could be that. The walks was nice. His commitment is nice. That was a dope camera shot. This, like, the lighting is so cool. Imagine if they had different lighting, it would feel so different, right? The lift up there. I really loved Group A's equivalence of that. It was literally like they were just letting him pass out. Here, it's just they lifted him and then they brought it down. It just felt more like choreo, which is whatever. Whatever to that. You know, this is all so cool. You can only replicate so much. Yeah. I like what they chose to do. It's quirky, it's interesting, and it kind of matched the intrigue of our ensemble, right? But I do feel like too disconnected, like it didn't feel as cohesive in the sense of how they meshed together, but I liked what they both did independently. Right? I think that's my one note. They make it noted on that, where it just feels like two completely different choreos. But I liked what each of them did independently, but I like how Mugan, he takes his arms, he brings them up. They let the little fan around, which is nice. Folding it in, cool. I didn't feel like he really got on him, and I like the commitment of the first one more in that. The reach is cool. I liked that control, ding ding, with the lift up was nice. The kick was cool. And the little poom expansion away is cool. He presses up. That press up handstand. God, we melted. We melted, everyone. The lift up is nice. They take him. And the little kick was cool. But notice all of that feels like we're prepping for these lifts. It felt like we did not need to prep at all. He was able to hold for 3 to 5 business days up there. So that's a huge thing that he got advantage-wise, my first guy, compared to my second guy. But what he has, it's not even lacking, but I mean, it's like the majestic qualities that he doesn't showcase the way my first guy does, he makes up for in the performance, and how my secondaries really interact with him is really nice. Then you have the basket runs in the ensemble. Ooh, Lord, the lighting hid that real well. I caught it, though. I caught it. And then they lifted. Like, I love that we have how they have him. It could be because of his height that he has to kind of dangle like that. I love it. It does feel very submissive, where he's like, I cannot control the fact that you guys have me, right? Turn through. Love that. They were pretty even in how they chose to execute it, but my note is the timing was a little off on that, though. Comes up. His commitment to character is phenomenal. Yes! And I love that little reach around is really nice. The little knock knock, and he knocks his head, which is cool. Thank you for having this lighting. I know you can do it, because you just showed it. Right, cool. The little bump, the little hit. So both of them nailed this very well. Goes forward. Yeah, hits it through. This part, I didn't quite feel a twist. I don't know if that was part of the choreo. The choreographer and their intention on some of this stuff will matter, I'm assuming, because if this was supposed to be a notable moment, but my first guy did it, my second guy, he just kind of had it here, those do read a little differently. But little details like that can like widen the gap between preferences. The reach was nice, though. I love that little moment. The tingling moment was cool. The reach there, and he melts it down with a sternum. And then he has boom, which is cool. At least we tried to simulate it right there by the jail. Arranges it. I love the extension on that. It was gorgeous. He completes his lines really, really well, which I think was a note I gave to, I think it was the Parasite group. My guy was cutting off his movement a lot. Here, he's showing that kind of reach and follow through that I really prefer when you see these choreo sequences. Yeah, it's cool. Both work. And then heading over, the bleed over down, and then you have your features, or you have your secondaries and your ensemble reaching back. Yeah. And the reach, she's like, He is giving this, like, let me go vibe. So he is committing to character quite well. He's like, why am I here? And then that was real. He got freaking taken in the back on that. Well done. He's like, the kick around was cool. He's like, no, what's going on? The reach up was really cool there too. You know, like that little assist, it felt like they like lifted him, but it wasn't like he's being dangled on someone's body like our first guy. There's like little differences like that, which will be chalked up to preference. Who weighs that more? You know, for me, I think we could just hybrid him, give his qualities and my first guy's qualities, put them together, and we all die. Maybe that's why they're separate. Goodness gracious. The little sote was really nice. He hits it over and he ends up rolling. So he makes it an accident moment up versus the actual suspension of the dive roll. And he reaches forward, which is cool. He goes forward. The reaches are like, no! Little kick is fun. He's like, notice how worn and weighty he's being here. The turn was nice. And the grab, and I love this little trace around. Now this is his choreo. His reach, and I like how he pulls it back. He ends up pulling it, then he ends up punching out of angst, which is what I love. Subtlety there, and all the dancers are moving. A little kick over and up, which is nice. So this is all different choreo, and it did look like my first guy, his felt complimentary in the sense of it looked like it was part of what the ensemble was doing. Like the ensemble was call and responsing, and I loved seeing that. Here it's like two independent groups, but it still works. Both perspectives work. The turn was cool. The hit accent there. That does remind me of the Parasite sequence a little bit, which is kind of fun. They drag him. He's like, no! I love the true turn, how it descends like that. It does feel like we're spiraling him out of control. And I love the turn there. They're having a great time. They run. They lift him up. Now that feels like, it doesn't feel like we prepped into the strangle. This is like, we're strangling you. Drops him in, and then they let him go. And then he's dead. So, goodness gracious. That is so cool. The amount of different perspectives we have in how these routines are done, it's just like, even though I gave, you know, most, if not all of my notes had to pertain to the Mnet logistics of it more so than how they did it. At the end of the day, every single person bodied. Everybody bodied. This was such a cool challenge, and this feels more stage fighter than any of the other challenges thus far, because they're on a stage and they're competing concepts, or it's like a comparison train, man. This was really, really cool. I really could care less of who wins, honestly, because this was such an interesting challenge that it makes me really excited to see. I hope they give us behind the scenes on the logistics more so than the audition. I really would I'd save us that. Goodness, man, this is cool. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. All of my stage fighter analysis and episode reviews appear on Patreon first and foremost, and depending on what kind of challenge it is will determine how these videos get broken up. This is all gonna be one huge video over there, full screen, ready for you to enjoy, if that interests you at all. And I love the discussions on this. Remember, keep in mind, street dance is my heavy background, where I actively articulate and analyze on YouTube. When it comes to stage fighter though, I do have lived experience in my day-to-day working in theaters, dancing in theaters, working with dancers, with this kind of production scale in this type of space. And so seeing these types of logistics in play are so fascinating and very intriguing to see in this way on a Mnet show. So I cannot wait for the discussions, and just who is your favorite and preference. Remember, mine are so open-ended. Everybody was phenomenal in different ways, and which is why I'm kind of okay with whoever takes it, and we just get to celebrate the beauty of the art. Y'all know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.